Everybody, welcome back to DeLoreanTECH Live, and we've got Chris Miles on the line as always. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good. Probably our last one for the year.
Yeah, you know what? This might be the last auction for the year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so any thoughts on this 81 DeLorean with only 4,300 miles, automatic? Looks clean.
Yep. Again, it's one of these cars that's kind of like not been touched, really. A lot of originality, so people seem to like to buy those for big bucks.
Yeah, you know my philosophy, we keep saying it over and over again, the more miles the car has, the more valuable it is in the long run, especially if you're going to use it as a driving car, right?
Right.
All right, so I didn't really go into too much when I started looking at this. There's upgraded tires. It looks like there's some service in October of last year. Changing the oil and replacing the spark plugs. Looks pretty clean underneath.
The seller's been pretty active in the comments, it looks like.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to check that out. Now, is this a local? Is he in California? Where is this car?
There was one that was being sold in California, but...
Irvine. Yeah, it's in Irvine. It's here in California.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is local. It's really close to where I am. Not as close to you, but it's probably like 20 minutes away from me right now. Interesting. So yeah, we can take a look at some of the photos here and see what we got. He's got some like videos here. Does he have any driving videos? Let's see here. Cold start, walkthrough video. Oh no. No driving videos? Come on. It's not good. Maybe because of the low miles.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Alright, so this is a very short video, so he's probably not going to take it out for a spin or anything. So that's unfortunate, right? So, I don't know, man. Start up okay. Okay, so there's her startup video. Unfortunately, no driving video, though. Oh, man. That's bad. I don't know what the guy is saying in the comments here. I just did a video on the cold start and walkthrough. Say again?
He was adding some extra information about the service, I think.
Yeah. I'd like to see the... Oh, dang it. I haven't logged in. Alright, log in. I mean, $55,500. This thing better be able to run, like to drive. It starts. There's a walkthrough video. Well, I guess we can watch that. That's only a 2-minute video. I don't know if he kind of like does a walk around of the car. I mean, you got to take these things out for a drive. I used to go on here in the auctions early and ask for those driving videos, but honestly, they've been pretty consistent lately, so I got lazy and didn't even check to see if this one had one. So buyer beware. No driving video, major red flag. Now it starts up and everything, but I mean that's only like half of it, right? You got to take this thing out for a drive. I don't know why you just didn't take it around the block. Come on, give us something here. I give the perspective.
More peace of mind.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Kind of car. Orange County, one owner shop in Orange County. Okay. So he's really hyping it up here. It says ran a DMC Huntington Beach, so can always have a spare key just in case. Yeah, I don't know. It's a low mileage car. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at some of these comments here. You got to be very careful when they don't put a driving video in. But is anyone in the chat or in the comments requesting one? That's the thing. It is a lower mileage car, so. Oh, look at this. So Chris Hogard saw the car in person twice. Once at a dealership in Palm Springs and another at a dealership in Orange. I wonder if this is one of the cars that was at Auto Gallery in Orange. There's been a few that have popped up there. I don't remember what the mileage and stuff was on there, but he's saying it's one of the cleanest DeLoreans he's ever seen, and coming from him, that means something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely means something. So it looks like it's a clean car, driving. Let's see here. I don't see anything in the comments about no driving video. I should have asked for one earlier. It doesn't look like anyone's commenting on that. So it's still $55,500. We can go through some of these photos here. The car looks all right. I mean, you could have chose a better place to take photos instead of the middle of the dang street. Yeah, I noticed that he went back and forth between license plates, the actual license plates, and then like a Back to the Future out of time license plate.
I saw the out of time one.
Yeah, so he kind of went back and forth. I mean, the car looks good. I mean, I think it looks pretty nice, just appearance-wise. You know, it's a Early-VIN gas flap, gas flap grooved hood.
Yeah.
Super clean looking. It's got the newer tires like we mentioned before. Yeah, looks
so
great.
there should be no reason why you couldn't drive it if it's got newer tires.
Well, he obviously drove it to the middle of the street, so why not just make a video of that?
Yeah.
Just make a video of that. I mean, what the heck? I don't know, man. It's just kind of strange. Well, that's a weird photo. Oh, okay, it's just the reflection there. Anyway. Okay, yeah, it's pretty clean. Even the rock screen, with a 4,300 mile car, you're gonna expect some amount of cleanliness here, especially if it's been stored, in a garage or something like that, indoors, not outside.
Right.
Yeah, original ride height, nice big old fender gap. Yeah, every time I see that, I'm like, man. And having the car really low to the ground and seeing your car all the time, and then you go see somebody else's car with original ride, and you're like, geez. Reminds me of the Back to the Future.
I forgot how high it was.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Back to the Future Mark III car, the desert car. Oh, man. Let's see here. Yeah, no, the car looks good, but does it drive good? And that's a missed opportunity for the seller. Could have squeezed out another 10 grand. You never know, right? Those driving videos make a big difference. It's a make it or break it. I mean, I wouldn't buy one without a driving video for sure. If obviously this is close to me, so I'd have gone down and checked it out. But if you're somewhere else and you can't do that, a driving video really, makes a big difference, I think, in these auctions here. So the wheels look good. There's a little bit of, paint coming off on at least one of them here, but it looks all right. They look pretty good. There's, just a little bit of paint stuff. That's not even a big deal. I want to get to that engine compartment. So it's a black interior automatic, which is the more common of the automatics. Still good, though. I mean, this would actually be a good car for me to get because, I always keep talking about getting another car, an automatic. It'd have to be a black interior because I already have a gray interior car. Definitely want an 81. So this has all the check boxes checked. Right? If I were to get a second car, it would be something like this. It's just different enough, right? In many, many ways, and almost all the ways possible, actually. Right? It's a very early car. Mine's a very late car. This is a black interior. Mine's a gray interior. Mine's a manual. This is an automatic. Mine's a flat hood. This is a grooved hood plus gas flap. I mean, it's like two different cars to me, you know. Different radios. Well, mine has the Craig in there, but I'm going to be moving to the ASI at some point in the future. I don't know when that's going to happen, but after a while, you get complacent. You know, you're like, yeah, I can get by without it for a while longer.
I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah. Let's see here. What's the blue on the you know, the door guides, the steel. Those are the steel door guides. There's a bunch of blue, like. I don't know if that's paint or some kind of staining going on, or maybe it's grease. I don't know. It's interesting. $42.67 original miles. And it's looking pretty good. It's got, you know, dash is good. This thing's in good shape. Very good shape.
Seats look nice.
Yeah, seats look great. All original. I'm assuming it's all original. It's got both types of keys in there. It looks like it's got 3 different keys. All the keys are accounted for, including that button key.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bonus right there.
That's for the door lock.
Yeah, for the door locks, right. Yeah, everything looks great. Very nice car. So it was in a dealership at least a couple of times, according to Chris Hogard. The floor mats actually look pretty good, too. The bonnet, everything in the bonnet looks great. It's very complete. Yeah, very original. He's even got the plastic coolant overflow bottle. So he has
it's pretty white too. It's not really discolored.
Right. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a good shot of that. It looks a little fuzzy in these pictures. Probably needed to clean the lens. Yeah, it looks good. It's a nice, you know. The nice yellowish, but like a cream color, right? It's not that the yellow that you normally
sunburnt.
See. Yeah, sunburnt. Yeah, those are the ones that obviously it's a lower mileage car, so it's not going to have as much, you know, quote unquote damage to it, discoloration due to damage or whatever, heat, that kind of stuff. Undercarriage looks pretty clean, man. Like the radiator brackets are nice and shiny, you know. All original suspension in there. Looks like the front frame extension looks super clean. Those crumple tubes look very clean. Like they took a nice they did a nice cleaning on those. So this is yeah, it shows very well. I have to say, shows very well. Looks like he's got. Is that the Ducelier or the Motorola in there, or is that no? That looks like an aftermarket.
I see the Ducelier sticker on it.
Oh, okay.
You kind of zoom in.
Okay, got it.
I don't remember them having red.
Right. That's what threw me off. I know mine has that.
Yeah.
Mine has that, but mine's an aftermarket, like a GM replacement type.
Yeah.
So it is the Ducelier. So that's you know, just I think it's what, 80 amp alternator or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the issue though, I don't know if it was the alternator per se or just the wiring, right? I mean, the alternators, you know, I guess, you know, they're old now, so maybe they need to be replaced. But I always thought maybe the issue with the electrical system wasn't just the alternators, but the wiring, the grounding, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The radiator motors are really hoggish, so.
Yep. 55,000.
A lot of power.
Right. So we've got 22 minutes left on this auction. It's not moving a whole lot, so we're probably expecting some movement here closer towards the end of the auction. We can probably segue over into the big topics at hand here in the DeLorean community. At least in my neck of the woods, is the new TOMY. The new TOMY model has dropped. And
did you buy it already?
I got it. I bought it, geez, like a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I bought it a year and a half ago, and it finally arrived earlier this week. And, you know, I actually ordered several, and I even got one for Russ. So Russ Law is the DeLorean model collector, and he is out in the UK. So they would not ship to the UK for whatever reason. So it is what it is. So he shipped one to me. I offered to ship it to him. Man, it's expensive to ship that thing to the UK. A lot of money. So I try to find the lowest. He was looking around too. Very expensive. It's 11.5 pounds total, and it's a big 22-inch box, and so it's not small, and it's not light. So it is what it is. I got his, and I got an extra one for myself as well. And I did an unboxing video on this thing here, and I compared them against the Hot Toys and the Eagle Moss cars. And
is it the same size?
No, so they are different. They're one scale apart. So they go by usually even numbered, although when you get to the lower scales, you've seen like 115, stuff like that, right? But anyway, it's a 1/10, it's the TOMY. 1/8 scale is the Eagle Moss, and 1/6 scale is the Hot Toys. And I gotta tell you, I mean, for the money, the TOMY is actually pretty damn good, man. I like it. So I'm pretty happy with it. I did so when I did the unboxing video, I had not seen any reviews. I wanted to stay away from any other reviews and anyone else who's posting videos or doing, any kind of reviews on anywhere, right? Facebook, whatever, forums, that kind of stuff. I just wanted to give my completely full impartial reaction as I was unboxing it. Man, I was completely geeking out over this thing. So I really like it. I mean, it's got a little inaccuracies here and there, but it's only a 1/10 scale model, and it looks, when you look at it from afar, it looks like a slightly smaller version of the Eagle Moss in terms of the color of the stainless. So, and it's 1/10 the price of the Eagle Moss.
Oh wow! What are they selling for? Average?
Yeah, the TOMY.
Yeah.
So the TOMY I paid back in 2023 when it was on Kickstarter. It was $2.99 for the early bird pricing. So I ended up picking up a couple of those, and I think the retail was $3.99, but most people paid $2.99 because they were backing it, right? So, and the more backers they got, the more money they raised, and then they would include bonuses once they hit certain milestones, like the lightning rod attachment, Einstein, and the fire tracks. So we got all of the So we got all of the bonuses. So we're good there, right? And the early bird pricing. I think you save a little bit on shipping if you buy two. They had a 2-pack where you can get 2 of them. So able to do that, and but they didn't ship outside the U.S. So you had to find, if you were in Canada or something, right, across the pond or wherever, you had to find somebody here in the States that is willing to ship it to you. So, Russ had to have it.
Right.
He's got to have it. It's gonna be number 650 in his collection, right? So so obviously I offered to, I'll ship it when it comes. So. Trying to find man, it's a lot of money to ship that thing, but it is what it is. But the smoke effect, oh my God, that when I first saw that, and I didn't actually intend to, I was just messing around with the car. I didn't really read the instructions because I was too distracted by how cool it was, right? And so when I was just pressing buttons. They're not really buttons. They're touch sensors. You just touch them for a moment. Wow. Yeah, and they light up the LEDs. So I was doing that. I didn't realize that the smoke effect is actually driven by touching the one of the buttons for the LEDs for the plutonium chamber. And what happens? You turn that on. The plutonium chamber will light up. And then a few moments later, the fog effect kicks in. So it just started randomly. And it's not supposed to come with fog solution. But apparently mine had some in it. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe there's a little bit in there for testing purposes. and they drained it out, but maybe the residue was still in there, and it didn't seem like there was a lot because the smoke effect wasn't. It wasn't like a lot of smoke coming out. So I filled it up per their instructions with some fog juice that I had. The Halloween stuff for fog machines. And man, it's pretty cool, man. I gotta admit, it's definitely a unique sort of thing. Not unique in terms of collectors, like the train guys. Those model trains that a lot of guys are into.
Right.
That have the smoke effect, right? It's very similar.
Back to the Future DeLorean. That's kind of like the first time I've heard of it.
Yep. First time, and with the pricing on this thing, Now I checked eBay and for secondary market pricing, and they're selling for about anywhere from like $500 to $800, somewhere in that range right now. You know how the secondary market is. It is what it is, right? So, but I got to tell you, man, compared to the new Hot Toys that's coming out, I'm very disappointed with the new Hot Toys, the Mark III, which is the train car, the desert car. Very disappointed.
Right.
It's just, with Hot Toys, they just keep rehashing the same model, and they just make a few little changes to it. Just the movie changes, the changes that are required in order to pass it off as a Mark III, as a new one, right? But all the other stuff is basically, they had opportunities to improve, like the taillights, for example. It would have been a great improvement. Just little things to make it more accurate. Maybe they're trying to keep it consistent with the Mark 1, but they changed the fascia colors from the Mark 1 to the Mark 2, so they made some corrections there. The cars look different. That's basically all they did. So, if it were me, I would have gone back in time and canceled my Mark III order and then maybe bought another one of these, because just the bang for the buck, right? And it's not as big as the 1/6 scale Hot Toys, but I don't remember being as excited. I mean, the Hot Toys, it's a giant model, right? So there's that factor, right, really. Yeah, it's huge. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's got that shock value. Man, this thing is giant, right? But I'm worrying about Hot Toys because not only did this one sort of embarrass Hot Toys, I think, in a way, because of the pricing is, the price point in this, you really can't beat it for what it does, right? And granted, it is just a 110, but 110, very detailed, very heavy. It's die cast. It's not plastic. It feels very solid. Yeah, it feels very solid, and I like it a lot. And I'm worrying about the Hot Toys though, as far as if you're a collector and you're thinking about reselling your Hot Toys at some point in the future. Values have not gone up for any of the Hot Toys. They've all actually gone down. The Mark 1 used to sell for $3,000. It's like $1,200 now, right? Because the Mark II came, they saturated the market with basically copy and paste of the Mark 1 with some changes to it, right? To make them Part 2, Part 3 cars, but they're really the same car. It's really just the same car, So, that kind of has worked against, I think, the Hot Toys, DeLoreans. The other thing I think is going to be the nail in the coffin is Blitzway, another 6 scale company, is coming out with their own 1/6 scale DeLorean time machines from Back to the Future. I think now that Hot Toys has released the final DeLorean, I think Blitzway got a license, or got the license. Not really sure how that all works, but they're coming out with their own 6 scale DeLorean, and I'm wondering, that one is going to have to be better than the Hot Toys. Why come out with something that's not as good, right? As what's already out there, right? And I think it's gonna, personally, I think this one is going to blow away the Hot Toys, and you're going to see the Hot Toys saturate the secondary market for basically what people paid for them, I think, at some point in the near future. I give it 2 years. They're supposed to release this thing, I think, next year. I don't know for sure. It could be next year, 2026. They were supposed to reveal it. They didn't. So, I don't know. That's kind of my theory, right? I'm not looking forward to doing my unboxing of the Mark III. We'll see how it goes. It is what it is. I remember when that first came out, I was, I I put it out to the channel. Vote for whether or not I should buy it, and everybody voted definitely buy it. Okay, so I ended up buying it, right? And that was like earlier this year or something, I think. I can't remember if that was late last year or early this year for the pre-order. But they're supposed to be shipping very soon. Like, I think next month. They've already started shipping in Asia. So, there's that, right? But it is what it is. I was very excited and very pleased with the TOMY. I know a lot of folks with the TOMY, they're a little disappointed because the lights don't stay on, right? Without, I mean, they time out, basically what happens. It's a touch sensor, you hit the touch sensor, the lights will turn on for about 60 seconds, they turn off automatically. That's a problem for collectors that want to display the model with their lights on. I didn't have a problem with that. Like, it didn't even occur to me when I was doing the unboxing, the video. It didn't even occur to me that, oh, wow, this is going to be a problem if I wanted displays with... Because I don't display any of my models with the lights on. I just, I don't really do that. But a lot of guys do, so that's kind of a deal breaker there. I'm sure there's a way to mod the thing, though, in order to do that. I mean, the thing's only $300, right? I mean, you're not,
Someone will figure it out.
Yeah, somebody's going to figure it out. It's not like the Hot Toys. We gotta be very careful. You want to do some mods to it. So there's a guy, a YouTuber, that really big in the 6 scale community named Denobi, and he has done quite a few modifications to the Mark 1 because he could not wait for a Mark 2, Mark 3 release from Hot Toys. So he did his own Mark 2 and Mark 3 modifications. Those ones look pretty good. I think the Mark 3 that he had done, he had someone 3D print up some wheels and stuff. Looked really good to me. Maybe even better than the upcoming Mark III here from Hot Toys. So, I don't know, guys. So,
well, you were highlighting how the hubcaps on the new one aren't right.
Right. The hubcaps on the new Mark III, they don't look good at all. They're very small. I've got a video that kind of talks about that, and it just kind of goes into like how wrong that, because my whole point behind that, other guys are like, it's not a big deal, it is what it is, whatever. No, but you know what, the tires on that car really are sort of that and the hood box are the two big things about that car that make it different from the other ones, that set it, that really justify making a Mark III, you know what I mean? So otherwise, why bother? The car's not going to be different enough. So those tires, those big white wall tires, those ones are essential to, the Mark III. And they got it wrong. The little hubcaps on the inside, which are removable, are super tiny. So the thing just looks terrible. It doesn't look like a Mark III. Plus, the tires themselves, in terms of scale, compared to the movie car, are a lot smaller. They're kind of, I would say, just based on what I've seen, again, I don't have it in hand yet, I would say the tires, the front and rear, they're the same size, front and rear, because, that's how they were in the movie. They're probably about the same size as the rear DeLorean tires, on the Mark 1 and Mark 2. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Big miss there from Hot Toys. Really looking forward to that. I like I said, I did a live stream. Not a live stream, but just a video, like a reaction video. And the photos that they released, to try to like push this thing, advertise this thing. It has adjustable suspension, right? So you can, or adjustable ride height rather. So you can kind of go up and down with the suspension, but it just looks terrible when you raise it up, because the tires are so small. And those hubcaps are so
fill in everything.
Right, exactly. So train mode with the train wheels, that looks okay because you can lower the car down and kind of get it sort of movie accurate. But the reality is this is just the Mark II with a hood box and the ability to swap out the tires and have them go up and down, right? That's basically it. And you're in the hole about $1,000 on that one. So I'm not exactly happy about that. They keep missing the mark. I think they got lazy. I think they just don't care anymore. They know this thing's going to sell. They're like, why waste our time? They really did I think they did it right, and they put a lot of effort into making the Mark II movie accurate with the wheels and how they're oriented. they're not they're not below the car like they were in the prototype, but they're up inside the wheel wells, right, when you go in the hover mode, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But this one here, I don't know. So let's take a look at the chat. So we have Heavy Metal Machine in the chat. We got JB, Paul, we got Ronnie, we got Big Sarge is in the chat as well.
Big Sarge.
The Mark III tires are too low profile. I agree with that. Mark III, oh man. And why would they do that? I don't know. There was a comment as to why. It's because they wanted them to be able to fit with the suspension all the way down, or the ride height all the way down. Which, you know, why not just package it with the train wheels, the rail wheels as they call them. Just package it with that. Arguably that's the better of the two of the Mark IIIs. Personally, I like the train look myself, but I don't know. Maybe the others like the 1955 white walls on there too. That looks okay, but as long as you're gonna do it right. They had some cool prototype shots, right? And now the prototype, see if I can get to it. So I've got a photo now of the ride height all the way up. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look screen accurate. It looks terrible to me. So it is what it is. Back to the TOMY, Heavy Metal Machine's only complaint is no USB-C power option. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. Again, when I was doing the unboxing and setting that up, it didn't really occur to me. You know, I put the batteries in. It didn't even occur to me that it didn't have a USB-C power supply or anything like that. I would say that would have been probably not too an expensive option, although maybe it was for them. Maybe it was like, you know what, we had to make sacrifices in order to get down to the price point we wanted to get to, and that might have been one of them. So, but I can't imagine a USB-C option of plugging this thing in would have been a whole lot, you know. But maybe it was.
What kind of batteries does it take?
It's just it's like 6 AA's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's got that motor in there for the fog machine. That thing's kind of loud.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they spent most of their money on that, you know, and had to really cut everything else, you know. So the batteries, that's it. Now, if you're good at modding stuff, you can just put your own in there. But I think most people are not, right? Most collectors are not. Then when you mod something, it's not original anymore, so it's not like, you know, as it came out of the box kind of a thing. You've modified it for whatever, you know, and that could also detract from doing that, I think. So where are we at on that auction, man? 56.5 ends in 4 minutes. So let's see who the bidding parties are on this 1-to-1 scale DeLorean model that we have here. You see a lot of people complaining about the pricing for like the Hot Toys, and you know, the Eagle Moss is ridiculous, $3,000 or so, something like that when it's all said and done.
Can you even find it anymore, or didn't some other company take over that?
Yeah. So Fan Home took over the Eagle Moss. And, you know, that was because Eagle Moss went out of business, you know, and Fan Home kind of swooped in and took over. And that's good because a lot of guys were still, you know, kind of left hanging. Like, what's going to happen? I just started subscribing, or maybe I was halfway through. Now what, right? So they can continue the subscription and build the model. But I gotta say, though, building that model 2 times it's fun. I like doing that stuff, right? You know, obviously, like working on the 1-to-1 scale DeLorean as well. But it was really fun working on a 1/8 scale DeLorean and putting the whole engine together. That I was like, this is so cool, man. You know, this is so cool. But anyway, the thing about that, you're paying $3,000, but you don't feel it because it's a subscription. You got this monthly thing. I think I was paying like 40 or whatever bucks, $50 a month, kind of a thing, over the course of a couple years or whatever. And I always look forward to getting the new issues in the mail and, you know, working on it again. And I love the attention to detail that Eagle Moss put into that car. It was like the suspension, putting the suspension together. All the DeLorean specific stuff, I was very appreciative of that. You know, if you're a DeLorean owner and you're familiar with the car and you've worked in the car, that goes a long way. That went a long way for me. I know for others who don't have the car, maybe it wasn't as meaningful, but to me it was very meaningful. So I was very, very happy with that. So the Eagle Moss, I think, from that perspective, it was a fun build. The only problem with the Eagle Moss is that it's very fragile. So there's a lot of things working against it there. My doors, I have to keep them up with fish line. So it's there's a lot of little tiny details. I think they went too overboard with all the details, and it started working against them because the stuff that they were putting together for the car was very fragile, very easy to break, and if you're not careful, putting together little tiny door struts, for example. I mean, you're putting those on the door. You know what I mean? Mine already broke. Well, at least one side broke, right? So little things like that, man. The fuel lines, all that stuff. It's all there. It's all in there. You don't see it. That's the thing. There's a lot of stuff inside the model you don't see that is very, very DeLorean accurate. So I was very happy about that one. $57,000 here. And I don't know. Any predictions on this, Chris?
It'll probably go to 60. But there was a Mecum DeLorean that just sold for like $24,000 the other day, so that's kind of depressing.
Yeah. So the seller, well, we might be done here, guys. 57,000. It could have broke 60 if they had a driving video, is what I'm thinking. But 57,000 for a car in this good condition, it's a very early VIN, low miles. I'm surprised. It's got a last minute bidder coming in. 57.5.
57.5.
Yep. Yep. So that guy, he's probably there, like, letting the clock run out, at the last second. So the seller got back to me. He said he was, unfortunately, I won't have time for driving video. It's like, come on, you drove the car to the middle of the street to take photos of this thing, and you didn't film it? Come on, that's just a red flag to me. Yeah, it looks great and everything, but what if it runs like crap? What if this thing just, has difficulty, getting to where you need to go? I don't know. It's just...
Well, faulty computer governor on the automatic.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe he had issues getting it to the middle of the street there, and or maybe pushed it out. I don't know, man. These pictures, though, that he's got here, it seems like a really weird place to put. And this looks like Irvine. This looks very familiar to me. So I am familiar with Irvine. Yeah, this is definitely Irvine. The big parkways, the ridiculous amount of palm trees everywhere, and it's nice out there, but it's very cookie cutter, very cookie cutter. So I'm surprised he did it this way. But with the trees in the background, it's kind of cool. I can see what he was trying to go for, with the palm tree lined parkway in the back. It looks kind of neat. And he probably thought that'd be a cool place to do the photo shoot. He's obviously turned it around. I mean, he's got it, perpendicular to the parkway, parallel to the parkway. So he's moved around quite a bit. So it does run, it does drive, but man, where's the driving video? You were doing it. You were driving this car. You had your phone. Come on, guy. 58,000. So yeah. Yep.
5 seconds.
Yep.
58.5.
58.5. We got a little bit of a bidding war going on here. So who do we have? So I know Chris Hogard is monitoring the chat there as well. So DeLorean Corner, really hoping Blitzway gets it right and only used the Peterson A car in movie stores for the references. I worry some companies use replica cars as reference and the inaccuracies come in. Hey, you know what? That's a good point, DeLorean Corner. I would agree with that. If you are going to do it right, going to the Peterson and getting shots of that car, that's the way to go. And I feel like one of the companies did that. Maybe TOMY mentioned that they were doing that, but I know it was one company. It was a while back. They said, yeah, we used the A car. We went to the Peterson, we took photos, and we used the A car as the guide. That's the way to go, right? And maybe even get like I don't know, Bob Gale involved, or one of the Time Machine restoration guys, Joe Walzer, or Steve Concatelli, one of those guys, and maybe do a signature edition with Bob Gale, like he approved the Time Machine, or maybe Michael Chaffee approved the Time Machine, or Kevin Pike. That wouldn't be too hard to pull off, right? So, that would be cool. And, but it would have to be accurate, So if Bob Gale gave his signature of approval, or Michael Chaffee, or Kevin Pike, gave his signature of approval on this thing, and you released a signature edition DeLorean Time Machine replica in 1/6 scale, dude, that would fly off the shelves, man. And you included a certificate of authenticity that was signed by one of those guys, or maybe even all of them. I don't know. Maybe you can come out with a DeLorean restoration team certified model. You know what I mean? So I bring that up. Because there's a YouTuber, a Star Wars YouTuber named Star Wars Theory. I don't know if you watch him.
Oh yeah, I watch him.
Yeah,
he's fun.
He's great. Yeah, Star Wars Theory. And I was on the fence about the Signature Series lightsaber that they just produced from
He has his own line of sabers.
Right, Theory sabers. And we're at 60. This thing just broke 60,000, so we're at 60,000.
60.
Yep. So he put out a limited edition, original Graflex style, A New Hope lightsaber. It's called I believe it was called I don't remember what it was called. It was the very first prototype of the Graflex lightsaber that was in A New Hope. And it was designed by this guy, I can't remember his name, Christian something or other. And he made and it's not licensed though, right? It's not licensed by Lucasfilm, but he got a hold of the. Yeah, it's fan built. Is it Lee Christensen? I can't remember the guy's name, but I can even look it up. Theory sabers. I wanted to get that. Because I'm a big Graflex lightsaber collector, believe it or not. And I was like, I remember seeing when it went for sale, and I was like, wow, they want $1,000 for that. And I'm like, man, this is the worst time to spend $1,000 on something that's just gonna sit in a box. You know what I mean? So, and it did sell out. Apparently, it sold out in like 3 hours, and I had it in my cart, and I was, I was gonna get it, and it's the Roger Christian Origin Saber, and I thought it was pretty cool. And they wanted $1,000 for this thing. I was like, man, this would be a great addition to that collection of mine, right? And I thought it was cool because he got a hold of Roger Christian, who designed the original Graflex lightsaber from Star Wars: A New Hope, and he got
alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. And I think he did some, he had him on the channel and stuff, and just talking with him and stuff. But he did a partnership with him and created a limited edition run of 200 sabers that were approved by him. So they're very prototype, Origin Saber accurate. They were signed off by him. You had multiple signatures on the plaque and on a certificate. I was like, you know what? That'd be a great idea for a DeLorean model replica. Obviously, a scale version, right? 1/6 scale that maybe is approved by Bob Gale, Michael Chaffee, Kevin Pike, whoever, right? A signature series. One of the guys who have the credits or in the credits for Back to the Future. And I don't know if Roger Christian is actually in the credits for that's something we probably need to look into. But hey, for him to team up with that guy and come up with a product that sold out, dude, I mean, 200 of these, just $200,000 in like three hours. You know what I mean? So.
That's crazy.
A good amount of the money probably went to Roger for that, but man, they sold out really quick. I did pick up one of his sabers for Anthony. I picked up for Christmas. I picked him up one of the Early-VIN sabers with a Neo Pixel blade and stuff like that. So So I had just bought one. I was like, man, I want to spend $1,000 on this. I'm like, I'm gonna hold out, and hopefully it sells out. So that means I can't get it. This thing's already at $62,000. $62,000.
Keeps going.
It keeps going. So you know what? Even without that driving video, you got a low mile car here. Okay, so that's I would say probably the reason for it. 62,000. This can hit 70 when it's all said and done, right? 70,000. Yeah. So I was about to say, a lot of guys in the collectible community, so our channel is dedicated to that as well as the one-to-one scale DeLorean, the one that these scale models are all based on. They complain about the pricing for the scale models being too expensive. And here we are, this thing.
Buy the real thing.
You buy the real thing, $60,000, and it's a collectible. This is not, you're not going to use this thing to drive to work every day. You're not going to take this on super long trips with the family. This is a toy. This is a collectible. You're going to, if you can drive it around, great, because they are great to drive. That's the beauty of owning a DeLorean, is that it's a collectible, but it's also really fun to drive. You can take it out there and just have fun with it. It's a great feeling driving that car. And I don't know. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, going on 15 years ago when I bought mine, I was using it every day. I don't know how I ever did that.
Yeah, and there are guys out there that daily their cars. Hey, we're in the last 10 seconds, 62,000. Well, 62.5.
62.5.
62.5. Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that do daily. So Tim Angers in our community, he dailies his car. I know you were driving around a lot too, right?
Yeah.
Dustin. Yeah, Dustin drives his a lot. I mean, these guys are driving it every day. But you know what? You're more power to those guys, right? That are driving their cars every single day, not really caring about the mileage, because the reality is you should not have to care about the mileage on these cars. The more miles you put on the car, the better the car is, or at least it will last longer, right? Now, it is an aging car, so there's that factor. You got to consider that as well. Don't drive the heck out of these cars. $65,000 for this Early-VIN 81 gas flap automatic, which, a very attractive car. It's got, I mean, if it were me, I'd go for it, right? I mean, it's got everything I would want in a second DeLorean. So, I don't know, would you go for a car like this, Chris? Would you augment your collection with an automatic? Is that something you've thought about?
Working on these cars, the automatics are just a breed of their own in terms of quirks. And those automatic transmissions are just, I don't know, they're just too temperamental for me. I don't think I'd want to buy one.
Got it. Yep. Makes sense. I hear you on that. I hear you. Hey, David Bublitz is in the chat. David Bublitz, who we've met over at DCS for a few years now, says, I was surprised to see an original stainless car care kit still sealed. The only other one I've seen is in my collection. So yeah, I mean, this thing has got a lot of extras to it. Very original stuff, extra stuff. This is definitely something that I think would fetch a lot of money here. I guess despite the fact that there is no driving video, but some folks good enough with just a cold start.
Well, and again, the person buying these low mileage cars, I think, are more into the collectability than the drivability.
I would agree with that. We've seen it before. That 93-mile car that went for over 150,000. I mean, we weren't even complaining about a driving video. That would not make any sense.
No.
That in and of itself is a true one-to-one scale display purposes only model of the car. You're not going to want to drive that. I mean, you're literally 7 miles away from rolling, into the 100, the 3 digits there. So you want to keep it at that very low 2-digit mileage, right? 93. And but man, I think just destroyed the record. At least on Bring-A-Trailer. I mean, or at least the known record. I don't know of any other cars that have taken that much that are not modified like Time Machines or the Nick Reed car, just a pretty stock DeLorean, right?
Right.
And
no celebrity,
right,
no relationship.
Right, like the Johnny Carson car. Sold for 111 or 110 or whatever it was. It completely obliterated that one. And that held the record for a while. I think that was sold in the 2022 or something around there, like several years back. It held the record for a long time. We weren't even getting close, right? I mean, some of them would get in the 90s or whatever, close to 90, somewhere around there, right? But and that 93-mile car, that thing just completely destroyed the record. I think there was another car, was a 1,500-mile or something like that took one that actually destroyed or didn't destroy it, but beat the Johnny Carson record by a little bit.
Yeah.
65.5 for this 81 gas flap. Very nice example too. So it's not rough, man. This thing is. I'm just surprised you didn't have a driving video. It's just why not? I mean, why not maximize how much you could get for the car? Did it not occur to you? 67, we're at 67,000. It's probably going to break 70 is what I'm thinking. It's probably going to break 70. But, I don't know. I don't know who's really selling this car. If he's if this is a dealer, if it's at a private party, it just maybe let's see, what do we got here? Let's look at this guy. Let's take a look. Well, he just joined in November, and he's only listed this car, so not a whole lot here. Yeah, not a lot of activity. So if it's a dealer, he probably didn't want to draw attention, so he created another profile and listed it under that profile specifically to list this car only. That's what I'm thinking. So, I don't know. Did you read into this to see if it's being offered by a dealer? Or is it private party?
I didn't see specifically.
Yeah.
But maybe the guy bought it from one of those dealers.
Could be. Let's take a look at the Carfax.
No, but...
All right, so the Carfax here. So it starts off at
heads up, I might lose you. I'm getting into the
okay.
hill, so
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Oh, we got 15 seconds left. 67,000. Here we go again. 10 seconds. Are we going to see 67.5? 67.5? Uh-oh. 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 I think it sold for 67. I didn't break 70. Didn't break 70. Well, maybe that driving video, I think it sold 67,000. Are we done? And we are done by new discoverer, $67,000. So that's a good deal for a car like this if it's a driving car. We don't really know. Uh-oh, looks like we might have lost him. Hey, you still there, Chris? Yeah, we lost Chris. Oh, well. So hopefully he'll call us back. Anyway, so the winning bid, $67,000, a pretty good deal for a gas flap with very low miles. Now, we keep talking about that driving video. The driving video that the seller here says he didn't have time to put together. Okay, yeah. If the car wasn't running right and wasn't driving right, that's probably the excuse that I would use. Nothing on the seller here, but I mean, he had plenty of time. He had time to do all sorts of other videos here. The front light functions, a video for that. I mean, he's doing this out here after he drove the car out to the middle of the street. Why not just do a driving video? Take your phone out and drive. It's an automatic. It's ideal for that. But so I don't know. There's something not quite right there. And he didn't have time, but he had time to do, videos showing the front light functions, the exterior rear light functions. Kind of don't care, show me the side view mirror functions and glass, why did you spend time on these videos, right? And this is a 1 minute 21-second video showing, the glass rolls down. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really want to bid on it now, right? What about the driving video? Where's the driving video at? Radio and AC functions? Okay. Well, I mean, we're taking your word for it that's blowing cold. Did he put a thermometer on there to show us that, hey, it does blow cold? I don't know if he did that or not. Doesn't look like he did. So we don't know if the AC actually works or not. But again, he had time to do all that. Cold start. He did cold start and a walkthrough video. So he had plenty of time to do these other videos that, they're okay. But, a walkthrough video, we already have the photos. You've got like a ton of photos here of the inside of the car, the engine compartment, all that stuff. Driving video, that's what you want. That's what you want. And he could have gotten more. $67,000 is a really good deal for whoever got this car. What a steal! And I'm going to go there, guys. Guess the seller should have put that driving video up. Hopefully that the seller doesn't get too offended by me saying that. But the reality is this. So we've been doing these auctions for a long time. We know how these auctions go. We know like which cars fetch more than others, all that kind of stuff. $67,000 for a gas flap in this condition, this visual condition here, is a good price. Okay. I couldn't really find anything super wrong with it. I mean, it looked great. Now, if it doesn't drive right, or if it doesn't run right, and it's and you can take it somewhere and have, maybe it's an issue with the governor. That's something that can be fixed, right? You can take the governor, send it out, have it upgraded or whatever. I know they do that. I know DMC California does them. I think other companies might be doing that as well. So if this car wasn't running right, and that's why we don't have a driving video up, right? Because there's no excuse, guys, for not having that in this one, right? There's no excuse. He drove it to take the pictures. Why not take the video of it driving, right? So there you have it. I mean, personally, I think he could have gotten a lot more if he had shown us this car driving, along those nice Irvine streets. And unfortunately, that did not happen. So this car is easily, I'm gonna go with 80,000 for something like this. Is easily and 80,000. So the computer governor on these cars, which is exclusive to the automatics, it's prone to issues. And, it could, this one with such low miles, it was never addressed. And maybe there were some issues there and the seller didn't want to reveal that in the auction. We've seen all sorts of stuff go wrong in these auctions. Somebody reached out to me once that their car was just, oh man, it was just terrible. What they ended up getting. And none of that was disclosed in the Bring-A-Trailer auction. Yeah, congrats on the winner. What a steal. So what do we have here in the chat? So Why did DeLorean remove the parallel grooves on the bonnet hood and later models? Was it cost cutting, a genuine cosmetic change? Was there any other cosmetic changes made to the car? So there's 3 hood styles. There's the gas flap with the grooves, the non-gas flap grooved hood, and then there's the flat hood. And I remember talking to Barry Wills about this, is why they changed over time. And I think it was cost cutting. I think, with the grooved hood, there's some extra stamping that has to be done, that, maybe it was costing too much, and they decided to, do away with that, right? And same thing with the gas flap. Yeah, it's more parts to it, and then you have to have a special key lock for the the gas cap. So cost cutting was definitely an influence on that. The other thing too, I remember reading about, was that with the gas flap, it sort of disrupted the lines of the car, so it was sort of unsightly. I don't know if that's the actual driver. That might have been a consideration though. So personally, I like the flat hood myself. The grooved hood looks cool. It's from Back to the Future. That's the same, style car that was in Back to the Future. Kind of a later VIN 81 non-gas flap, right? It looks kind of cool, but there are no other style lines on the car, so it's just exclusive to the hood. So to me, it looks a little out of place for some reason. That's just my own personal opinion. I still respect the grooved hood. It does, you look unique to that particular year, or that particular part of the year, model 81. Gas flap is also kind of cool. It's just different. I'm so used to seeing a flat hood, that whenever I see a grooved hood, it just kind of stands out to me. But I got so used to the flat hood that now when I look at a grooved hood, it looks a little odd. It doesn't look right to me. I don't know why. I just, looking at mine, and it just grew on me, I guess. I remember someone saying the grooves were deleted due to cost cutting. Yeah, that's, I think, what it is. As the die used to form, they used to wear out prematurely. There you go. The grooves that they put in, they're very small, so that would make sense to me. As a gas flap year owner, it makes me hopeful. Yes, gas flap year is very sought after. Thanks for all the tech videos. You're welcome, Greg and Cindy, Visalia. And then DT UK. Imagine that manufacturing costs were most likely the reason. If the tooling was wearing out too, it'd probably be more cost effective to delete the grooves. Yeah, that's what I believe Barry Wills told me, that it was just a cost cutting thing. It looked good. I want to say that and I'm looking at my prototype 1 photo here that I have on my wall, and I think it might have been on that too. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think they had the style lines on that hood as well. So that goes all the way back to the 76 DeLorean. So that was part of the original design there. That one did not have a gas flap. Okay, so we can pull that up. Let's pull that up. Let's go to the channel and pull up the, let's see here, prototype 1. We're talking about hoods now all of a sudden. Talking about this car, it's like my favorite thing to talk about, just in general. So let's take a look at Proto 1 here, going all the way back to the beginning. So you see this on all the Back to the Future cars, right? There are no gas flap Back to the Future. Well, you know what? There is a gas flap Back to the Future replica, and it's owned by Edwin Pineda. He is the Hawthorne Time Machine guy. So he's got a gas flap converted DeLorean Time Machine. And so here we are looking at Proto 1, and you have the style lines on Proto 1. So there they are. So the style lines, or the grooves in the hood, go back pre-Lotus on this car. Okay, this is the 1976 original prototype DeLorean that precedes the Lotus engineering, the Lotus redesign. Okay, so this is a 1976 model, never produced, but it's a prototype, one of 2 that were made. The second one disappeared. We don't know what happened, but as you can see, those style lines are on this car. So this car does not have the gas flap. So when you talk about the hoods, the style line grooved hood non-gas flap is sort of harkens back to the original origin version of this car. Okay, the gas flap was more of a convenience feature. You didn't want to have to raise the whole hood in order to fill up. But I think again, the cost cutting on that is probably why they deleted the gas flap. It could also been the styling as well. I've heard the same there as well. So this car will need a few grand in parts to make it a no worries driver, fuel lines, etc. Yeah, I agree with that. If you're going to make it a driver, you're going to replace those fuel lines on this car. And I got to admit, it went for some pretty good. 67,000, that's not bad for this car. Yeah, that's not bad. And, you know, if you're looking for a driving car, I would have been very hesitant to put bids on this more than 70,000. I don't know what's lurking within that engine and within that drivetrain, within the transmission. I just don't know. All I know is he took a bunch of videos. It looks great. No driving videos. He's got the startup video. Somebody in the chat here pointed out that it sounds like a lawnmower. Who was that? Let's see here. It was Heavy Metal Machine said it sounds like a lawnmower. So maybe there are some issues with this car. You know, maybe there are some issues. And, you know, hopefully the winner of this auction is going to find out. And hopefully it won't be too significant. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. So anyway, there's that. And the seller has not responded, but that's okay. I think this was definitely a good deal here. 67,000 for a car in that good shape. Of course, we don't really know if it's a driving car. It starts up. That doesn't mean it can drive well. Doesn't mean it runs well. Okay. Yeah, especially if it's an automatic, you could have some issues. But you know, some of these guys, these sellers, they don't really understand what it could be, right? What the issues could be. Maybe they were a little worried about having to spend a lot of money to get it driving right, since they don't know, that kind of thing. So anyway, 67,000, 81 gas flap, Early-VIN, very low miles. Definitely a steal on this one. Now, getting back to the TOMY. So the TOMY Embarrassing Hot Wheels. Or, did I just say Hot Wheels? Hot Toys. Hot Wheels, you know, they've got an ultimate version, and I'm thinking about doing an inverse comparison of a very similar version of what I did with the Hot Toys versus Eagle Moss versus TOMY, except the TOMY is going to be the bigger of maybe the 3 or 4 models, and I'm thinking the Hot Wheels Ultimate Edition is what I'm going to compare it against, as well as maybe the Diamond Select, the 1/15 scale. And then I'm not quite sure what else I want to compare it to. So we got 110. If there's another, maybe between the 115 and the 110, like a 112 scale that I've got, I'll have to look through my collection and find out what else is there. To do a comparison, a side-by-side comparison. Definitely the Sunstar. I think that's the Sunstar like a 118, something like that. So it might be the Sunstar versus the Ultimate Hot Wheels, and then the Diamond Select, and then the TOMY. We'll see how that goes, how the TOMY compares to these other iterations. But as far as Hot Toys being embarrassed by by TOMY here, I definitely would think so, especially since this one is going to be shipping right on the heels of the TOMY. And the TOMY right now, all the comments I've gotten, the majority of the comments on these videos for the TOMY are largely positive. A lot of guys out there are very happy with what they've got. You know, given the price range for that, the price point, you really can't beat it. With the Hot Toys, we're getting kind of more of the same. I think it's a downgrade from the Mark II. Going to this, I mean, all you have is the ability to swap out the tires. Big deal, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? They could have done a little bit more with the car as far as improving it, making some corrections to the screen accuracy of this thing. I think TOMY right now is really, you know, I think they're pretty happy with the well-received reactions from the community, the collector community, on the TOMY 110 scale. And I think with that price point, they've definitely put Hot Toys to shame a little bit. Blitzway is coming out with their 1/6 scale. Oh man, that's got to be better. That's got to be better than the Hot Toys. Really looking forward to that. I really want to know I just want to see what that thing's going to look like. I want to see, and I want to know what it's going to be made out of. Maybe it will be die cast. Imagine a 1/6 scale die cast DeLorean. I mean, it's branded. It's probably going to be very expensive, right? But even if it were twice the price of the Hot Toys, I still think it would be a good seller if it was done right. Imagine seats that were made out of like maybe not real leather, but simulated leather, and little things like that that would go over a lot a lot better than what we have with the Hot Toys. Just to increase that DeLorean and some of the screen accuracies too. So like this wheels, for example, and the 6 scale community is going to come out with hub caps or wheel center caps for the 1/6 scale Mark III. We know we're going to get that. We may even get all new set of tires, wheels and tires for this thing. But the reality is, then you're talking about spending a lot more money on that just to fix what Hot Toys could have easily have fixed right out of the gate. Why mess this up? Why mess these wheels and tires up so significantly? I mean, it's not like, maybe they don't listen to the collectors. Maybe they don't listen to the YouTube videos out there. They're not paying attention. I don't know, right? It's not like we haven't spoken up about stuff like this, right? Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they don't have the license anymore. Blitzway's got it for 1/6 scale. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how that works. Maybe somebody out there knows how that works. I honestly don't. Let's see what we got in the chat here. The Sunstar DeLoreans. Yep, absolutely. So I do plan on adding that one into my comparison video. The wheels on this Hot Toys Back to the Future 3 DeLorean look just so wrong. The hubs are too small. The hubs are too small. The tires are too low profile. It's just off. They had a prototype. They had it right. The prototype looked good. I was like, oh, I'm on board. Here's my money. Then we get this. It's like, come on, Hot Toys. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking? I mean, why would you do that? Why would you pull this bait and switch on us? Give us an explanation or something. Tommy is great, but I prefer the Eagle Moss DeLorean. Yes, I can see why. Having built 2 of those myself, for display purposes, you really can't beat the accuracy. It's slightly larger, but when you look at the differences side by side, it looks kind of significantly larger, I think. But not too far off in terms of the color or the stainless. So we can go back to that one. A very cool model, right? So Eagle Moss versus Hot Toys versus the Tomy. That side by side, looking at those is pretty cool. I like all 3 of them myself, right? I've always been a big fan of Hot Toys, of the Hot Toys 1/6 scale DeLorean, right? I'm not saying I totally hate it. I actually love it. I like it a lot. I think when I did my comparison of just the Hot Toys and the Eagle Moss, I actually went with the Hot Toys. The reason why is because of the size of the car. It's just ridiculously big, and it just, it's got the shock value of being so big. But I do agree that the Eagle Moss is more detailed, and it's more accurate, and it's got a lot more to it, right? But for whatever reason, I think the size of the Hot Toys just wins out for me. Now, I'm trying to be impartial here and not really factor in the size and trying to do a comparison of these on the merits, not really factoring in size too much, right? The Eagle Moss is probably the better out of the 3 because of all that, right? They did it right. Imagine if the Eagle Moss was a 1/6 scale. It would blow the Hot Toys away. There would be no question, right? But I think the Hot Toys gets my support a little bit more because of that. The pricing on the Hot Toys a lot less than the Eagle Moss as well, so you've got that going for them as well. The Tomy, on the other hand, there's a lot of bang for the buck with that Tomy, right? A lot of bang for the buck. It's got the smog effect, the fog effect, I should say, or smoke effect, and that was just so cool, right? I don't know how long that novelty is gonna last, but I'm still like, wow, that thing is just so cool. And people have come over. Hey, can you show me the smoking DeLorean time machine? So people have asked to check it out in person. It's really kind of neat to see. And but anyway, there's that. So The Hot Toys fixed their hood box from the initial prototype photo, so that's good. So DeLorean Corner is saying that the initial prototype stuff had some issues with it. I wasn't paying too much attention to the hood box. I know it doesn't have the Pepsi Cola stamping on the sides. That's probably a licensing thing with Hot Toys. They never go there, right? Eagle Moss, they were able to give us some better stuff. I don't think they had the Pepsi stuff though on the Eagle Moss, if I'm not mistaken. I think Lane Mods did something for that because they didn't have it. I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to remember. And with the tires though, they gave us the Goodyear tires right off the bat. Of course, that's a pretty easy fix. I've actually bought the decals. I didn't get the Lane Mod decals. I got the cheap eBay ones. They're like $10 or something like that. I haven't even put them on yet. As you can tell, right? Here's this. I took that video, I think on Monday of this week, just a few days ago, and I haven't put the proper Goodyear decals on. I bought them. I never did it. I got lazy. It is what it is. That's how it goes. One thing, so DTUK, one thing I've noticed looks at various different scale replicas is the color inside the door frame. Some models have it painted black, others have it silver, which is accurate. It should be stainless inside. If you're talking about inside the door itself, right? Like where the door lights are, for example, it has to be silver, right? And it has to match the stainless steel because that is what is on the actual car. So if it's painted black, that is not accurate, right? So let's take a look at that. That's a good question. I never really thought about that, but I think the Tomy here is accurate. So is the Eagle Moss, and I think the Hot Toys has it down as well. But you're right. If there are the inside of the door is painted black, then that's a problem because it needs to be stainless. The doors on a DeLorean, you can take the doors off, right, and still drive the car around and you're fine, right? That kind of thing. You can take off all the stainless panels if you want and still drive the car around because really it's the stainless steel panels that you see on the car, it's not integral to the body per se. They're stainless steel skins. So they're on top of the body. The body itself is fiberglass. Now, if you're a builder of the Eagle Moss, you'll know what I'm talking about because they went to that level of detail where you get the fiberglass underbody as it was with an actual car, and you put the stainless skins on it. Now, the doors, on the other hand, are pretty much stainless inside and out, right? There's some structural stuff going on in the inside of the doors, but it's stainless steel all the way around. So the doors are really sort of the 100% stainless part of the car. The rest of it, those are just skins, right, that are on the car. So you got the T-top, T-section, you've got the two rear quarter panels of the car, and then you've got the front fenders and the hood, right, that are all basically just, panels that you can add and remove. Doors, on the other hand, whole different thing. You got a whole system with the torsion bars and the struts, that kind of thing. They're pretty much solid stainless all the way around. Now they're assembled. They were assembled that way. So it's not like one whole piece, right? But they're assembled. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. So Mike Lane has a wood Pepsi Cola logo kit for the Eagle Moss. Yes, hope one does one for the Hot Toys version. He probably will. They're probably going to need that. What is the final cost from the Eagle Moss versus Tomy versus Hot Toys? So I pointed that out here. Now the Eagle Moss final cost, depending on where you ended your subscription, I didn't add mine up. I just didn't want to add it up. It was a lot though. It's pushing $3,000. Now it depends on when you subscribe. Now if you were just Eagle Moss all the way through, I think it's a little bit less, like $2,800 or something like that. Now if you went to Fan Home, I heard it went up in cost and price, so you're probably paying north of $3,000 versus, the Tomy, $300 right out of the gate. I think the retail was $400 for that. Secondary market's like $500, $600, $700, whatever it is right now on eBay. The Hot Toys is about right now the Mark 1. I just checked prices on eBay, somewhere between $1,200 and like $1,500, but that's down from $3,000 before the Mark 2 came out. That thing was going for some serious money. So if you bought an extra, you should have sold it by now because you're not going to get $3,000 for that anymore. It's not going to happen. And there's a reason for that, because the Mark II is the Mark I. It's the same thing. They just did some mods to it, right? You know, Denobi did mods to his. Now Hot Toys did the same thing. They just modded a Mark I, fixed the fascias, and here it is. The Mark I's dropped in value. They got cut in half, you know, and even less than that. $1,200. You can get one for $1,200, you know. And I think the Mark IIs are pretty cheap too. The Mark IIIs, you're going to see a lot of them go on eBay. Here's the thing. I think you can still order it from Sideshow. I went on there to check out the pictures, and it said you can still pre-order it. So it didn't sell out. Because everybody knows this is the same copy and paste model. Bam, bam, bam. If you're going to do that, you should have just made an Ultimate Edition. Put a little bit more money into it. And instead of just doing a cash grab. Right? And it really is a cash grab, guys. I know a lot of you are like, well, of course it's going to be the same model. It's the same car, you know? And but, you know, I'm not of that mindset. I am of a mindset that this is literally just a cash grab. Again, I like the Hot Toys a lot. I've always been a big Hot Toys fan, and I've had my Hot Toys for so long now, right? And I love that thing. But if you're going to do the sequel, you can't just rehash the original. You've got to make those improvements that everybody has talked about for years. They didn't do it. So many missed opportunities. The only thing that they improved and fixed was the fascias. That's it. So anyway, that just makes it more frustrating when we're talking about the Mark III. And that's why I put those videos out there. It's also not just to get the word out to the collectors or prospective purchasers, buyers, but also to let Hot Toys know that I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with it, right? So we let Hot Toys know when we saw those original prototype photos of the Mark II with the tires hanging down, right? They were hanging down below the car. And it looked terrible. I remember looking at them like, that's not screen accurate. And we all mentioned it. We all talked about it. I know Denobi went off on that like crazy, right? In his live streams and stuff. And, you know, I was like, oh, man, you know, yeah, that's true, man. But I really like the Mark II. I remember seeing it at Comic-Con back in, like, I don't know if it was 2017. It was really a modified Mark I that they did, which was what we ended up getting anyway. So here's the Mark II right there. There's the Mark II, right? So originally, and it's hard to, like, get to it, but let's see here. So the Mark II, originally the wheels and tires were hanging super low below the car. That was super screen accurate. We pointed that out. We pointed that out many, many times. So see how this actually came out? This is the final version. This is really tucked up way in there, which is what it should be. The bottom of that tire needs to be at the same level as the bottom of the car. The original prototype showed it hanging super low. It looked terrible. Hot Toys took notice of that. They paid attention to us. They paid attention to us and they fixed it. So we were like, when we saw that, we were like, oh my God, they did it. They did it. Awesome. So of the three, my favorite is the Mark II. Because of that, because they fixed the fascias. But of course, the Mark II, they rushed it. They when it came out, there was all sorts of problems with this. They were breaking. There were issues with the LEDs, all that kind of stuff. So quality control was a problem there. I actually had to return mine. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but I returned the car after going to Sideshow and saying, hey, look, I got all these problems. They were cool. They accepted it. They sent me a new one. The new one didn't have any issues. So it was hit and miss with those. Some of them ended up good. Some of them ended up bad. All right, so didn't realize. Thanks. I would like to see a 1/6 scale regular DeLorean. Yes, so would I. I don't know that we'll ever get that, but here's something I was thinking about. I was thinking about that today before the live stream. Wouldn't it be cool if Blitzway, for example, okay, if they really want my money and they really want me to spend a lot on their product, they will make the DeLorean the ability to convert it back to a stock DeLorean. Now, how would they pull that off? There's a way to do it. You know, maybe, just maybe, they give you extra body panels or they give you some other stuff, right? The ability to remove the windows, for example. Maybe they sell it as convert your DeLorean into a time machine, like so many people actually do in the real world with these 1-to-1 scale DeLoreans, right? Video Bob, Danny Botkin, Bruce Coulomb, right? These time machine builders, and a bunch of other ones out there, like Edwin Pineda. He did his own DeLorean time machine conversion. What if Blitzway, or maybe someone else, did a 1/6 scale stock DeLorean, but included everything you need to convert it to a DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future, even the interior stuff. Now, how cool would that be? Eagle Moss, missed it there because it didn't include panels that were, that didn't have holes in them and stuff like that you had to connect the flux bands to and things like that. So you couldn't do it with the Eagle Moss, right? Although you got to admit, the Eagle Moss was pretty close when it came to all the other DeLorean accurate stuff. It was almost to the point of being ridiculous. It was so awesome. Like the engine, the suspension, it was very accurate, right, for that scale. Now, if we had something that cool, you know what? Take my money, and I would probably leave it as a stock DeLorean, right? Now, they could also just do a 1/6 scale stock DeLorean, but I think having the ability to convert your stock DeLorean into a time machine, that would be kind of cool. Anyway, Hot Toys didn't make much profit on the Mark 1. It makes sense. They didn't put much into engineering on the 2 and 3 and reused molds. Yes, I agree with that. If it was a money thing and they just did it to extend the license or whatever, or cash grab, I guess that makes sense. But they've got a lot of other things that they're doing too. I don't know about that. I don't know the financial aspect of it with Hot Toys. Mark 3 scale model. So DT's saying should be really dirty. I agree. Weather beaten and full of sand. Yes, that would be the way to go instead of that weird paint splatter. That, oh man, that was just terrible. And I'm really not forward to looking at what we get for the finished product. I just remember how disappointed I was with the Mark II. I remember looking at this thinking, man, that is terrible. And I didn't want to try to remove it or anything. I was just like, look, I'm just going to display it this way. And, we're good. So I came up with a way to display it sort of flat as opposed to turned, right? Just kind of stabilized versus like at an angle, right? And you don't see the undercarriage. You don't want to see the undercarriage. It looks terrible. But anyway, there's that, right? All right, so what else we got here? Build your own time machine in all its forms from a stock DeLorean. Excellent idea. Yes, that was what I was thinking. I was thinking, man, how cool would that be? So we resolve everybody's, we address everybody's desire for a stock DeLorean 1/6 scale, and then you get an even more screen accurate version of the Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. So it's truly an ultimate version to the point where you get a Mark 0. Okay, a stock DeLorean. So you got with your Mark 0, your origin car, right? It's 100% DeLorean accurate, and you get a bunch of parts with it too. And you can remove, the windows. You can remove the louver. You can remove the. I guess you can remove the engine cover as well. I guess that's what they did, or I guess maybe you build your time machine components on top of the engine cover. I don't know. Whatever. There's other things that you can do too, right? Like instead of like drilling into the stainless, maybe there's a way to just fix the flux bands onto the stainless with magnets or something, as opposed to screwing them in or whatever. Now, granted, it would be more accurate to screw them in, so maybe you give us an extra set of panels, right? Quarter panels and front fender panels. You wouldn't have to do anything with the hood. Right? The bumper, the bumper was drilled into. Maybe give us an extra bumper. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like, these extra parts would be a big deal. This Ultimate Edition 6 scale DeLorean with a Mark 0 and then a Mark 1, 2, and 3, screen accurate, everything. Dude, sign me up. Sign me up. That would be awesome. Okay, that would be awesome. So, maybe we need to talk to Blitzway, like reach out to them, because think about it, Blitzway. They're going to have to, if they really want to be successful with their 1/6 scale model, because we already have one. Everybody has the Hot Toys, right? It's out there. There's, that's already been satisfied. The 6 scale DeLorean has already been satisfied, right? Everybody has it. They're going to have to set themselves apart from Hot Toys when they come up with their 6 scale. They're going to need something, right? They're going to need something that will get us to buy their 6 scale if we already have the Hot Toys, right? They're going to need a gimmick, and that gimmick has to be something like, hey, this thing is going to start as a Mark Zero. It's a completely stock DeLorean, and guess what? You're going to be able to build your own time machine out of it, just like Doc Brown did. Just like Doc Brown did, right? So Doc Brown, if you got the workshop manual for the DeLorean time machine, talks about how he started off. He bought a DeLorean. I think there was a newspaper ad or something like that for a DeLorean. He purchased it, converted it. He engine swapped the DeLorean. So I don't know. I guess it's canon because you had Bob Gale's approval for that workshop manual, right? So he engine swapped the car. So canon is that the DeLorean time machine in Back to the Future does not have a PRV. Okay, it has a Porsche V8. Okay, it's got a Porsche V8 per Doc Brown's DeLorean time machine workshop manual. So the Eagle Moss is a little inaccurate, but of course that book was written and published after Eagle Moss did their 1/8 scale model. Okay. So that was more of a later sort of modification to canon. But of course, if you listen to the movie, if you watch the movie and you hear the car, DeLoreans don't sound like that. Okay, that's actually the sound effects from a Porsche motor. Okay, that they used for the movie. So it would make sense that that's because he actually engine swapped the car because he needed the extra power. Okay, so anyway. Blitzway's 1/6 scale figures aren't that great, especially compared to Hot Toys. Curious if they can top them on a vehicle. I would agree, but those are figures, right? Maybe they'll bring in someone to do a really good job designing their 1/6 scale. It could be a complete flop. It could just be completely really bad. But why even do it? I mean, with Hot Toys has 3 different versions of the 1/6 scale DeLorean. They're the only game in town. You want that market. You know that people are not happy with Hot Toys, right? People in the community, big people in the community, are expressing their opinions about the Hot Toys 1/6 scale. Just, disappointment after disappointment. They are listening. Blitzway has to be listening to this, okay? And they have to be taking notes, right? Otherwise, forget it. You're not going to be successful. Give us what we want. Listen to what we're criticizing Hot Toys for and do something about that, right? So you can one-up Hot Toys pretty easily with just a few little things here and there. You give us what we think what we really want. If you can, accomplish that, you're going to be successful. Ghostbusters figures and Ecto-1 vehicles are considered some of the best in the industry. From Blitzway. Okay. I don't have any Blitzway stuff myself, right? So my thing is really just DeLoreans. That's really it. I've got like the Hot Toys Marty figures and Doc figures and stuff, but I don't have anything else from some of the other companies. So hopefully Blitzway will be successful. I'm really looking forward to that, especially after the disappointing iterations of the Mark 1 that we got. It is what it is. It'd be cool if they did do an Ultimate. The R&D into that thing is going to be ridiculous, though. So I would expect it to be very expensive compared to the Hot Toys, which is fine, right? I mean, there was that one, was it a 1/10 scale statue from, is it Iron Studios or something like that? That was like over $2,000. That looked kind of cool. It was like a Mark II with Marty and Doc on there. I remember seeing that at Comic-Con. I really liked that. I really fought myself to not get that. I didn't buy it. I you know, kind of glad I did. It was a lot of money, but it looked pretty good, right? So I mean, $2,000 DeLorean, that's out there, right? For models, scale models. I guess if you can call it a model, it's more of a statue. It is true. They did a good job on the Ghostbuster stuff. I have their Bill and Ted figures, and they're not that good. So maybe hit and miss with them. Alrighty, so that's my opinion about the Tomy. I'm a big Tomy fan. I think the Tomy DeLorean Time Machine is a big win. Yes, there's some screen inaccurate stuff, but for the price point, I'm willing to look the other way on that because of that smoke effect. They did try. They got the purple connectors over the wheel wells for the wiring, the flux band wiring. You know, you can tell they did try. They did do some live streams. I reached out to them and talked to a lot of those guys. I think the designer of this of the DeLorean that Tomy did, he commented on one of my videos that I just put out there, and he was really happy to see that it was well received by the channel. I purchased it just like everybody else, so I'm not benefiting in any way by saying that their model is good. I'm just like everybody else. I paid the $300. I bought a couple of these. I thought it would be cool to have one that I can, you know, mess around with, and then one I can keep in the original box. But I'm just like everybody else. I bought it. I did some live streams. I reached out to them about it. I wanted to make sure that they were okay with me reacting to their live stream when they went live on Facebook. They were okay with that. I got to talk with them a little bit. It was pretty cool. I know Denobi actually had them on his channel. So they're very cooperative with the community. And they really listened to us, right? There was a lot of feedback that we gave them that they incorporated. Now, granted, there are some, you know, concessions that they had to make here and there in order to keep costs down. So I was fine with that. But Tomy, big win. The new Hot Toys Mark III. You know, based on everything I've seen, big fail. You know, it'll be coming here. It'll probably be here in less than a month. I'm not looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to the Tomy. So let's see what happens. I'm, you know, very pessimistic about that. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Let me know what you guys think. If you're watching this video, let me know what you guys think about the Tomy versus the Hot Toys versus the Eagle Moss. Would you actually get one? A little off topic. Tomy are potentially going to triumph again with the movie versions of the USS Enterprise. Hey, I've seen that. And I think it looks pretty good, at least if it's the one you're talking about. Photos, yeah, it looks really cool. So I know they've got a new line going with Tomy Plus, and they're coming out with high-end collectible stuff, trying to get into that market. And so far with the DeLorean Time Machine, I think Tomy is going in the right direction. Looking forward to seeing the Mark II and the Mark III from Tomy. I'm definitely going to get those, especially if they're the same price as the Mark I Tomy. So I'm really looking forward to those. No room to display yet. Heavy metal machine. Okay, yeah. I've got mine sitting on top of my display case for the Mark II right now. So I want to get a display case going for it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video just to see if it displays well with the lightning rod attachment in the Mark I or the Mark II cases that I've got. Of course, you're going to need a little bit of extra room for the flame tracks. I haven't really sized that out yet. I was planning on doing that either today or tomorrow, and then I'll probably do a video if there's, you know, something there. I'm pretty sure iDisplay's going to make a case for the car, but I don't know if they'll make one that will accommodate the car with the lightning rod attachment on it. So anyway, guys, that's it for the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. We'll probably do another live stream. There's probably going to be another DeLorean dropping on here, you know, for next weekend. So we'll talk to you guys then. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.